What's up guys, welcome back to Rebranding Safety. I'm James MacPherson. Rebranding Safety is the YouTube channel and podcast translating health and safety to help you save lives and save money. Today we're going to talk about not how to sit at your desk, but how to ergonomically sit at your desk. We're talking about DSE, how to set up your desk so you're comfortable. It is important to note before we jump onto the desk though, that this is a very personal thing. A lot of health and safety professionals or a lot of consultants will kind of follow the guidance, letter to letter, and say everybody must sit at their desk like this, like this, like this. It's important that you understand that it's a case-by-case basis. You have to do this if you're the boss or the health and safety professional. You've got to do this by talking to these people, saying how do you feel comfortable? Does that feel comfortable? The guidance says you should sit like this. Let's try that and see if that's comfortable for you. If it's not, we can adjust it. And it's also finally important to note that if you've got somebody that is really struggling with back problems or bone joint problems or anything like that, you're asking them to sit at a desk for a very long time, I would seriously consider getting a professional ergonomic specialist or DSE specialist to come in and help that person. Let's jump onto my desk. Okay, so we just break a couple of things down on how to set up a desk. And like I said in the introduction, it's important that it's a very personal thing. So the key here is that you are comfortable, or if you're assessing somebody else or doing an assessment with someone else, the key question that you're going to keep asking is, does that feel comfortable? One of the first things we're going to consider is the chair. So we'll see my chair here is exactly what you don't want. You want one with an adjustable back, one that kind of goes back like that. So you normally have quite a few handles underneath the chair where you can see you'll be able to adjust the back. Sometimes you can adjust the seat as well, and there's a hell of a lot of stuff you can adjust. So the most important one you need is the height adjustment. Now, like I said earlier, this is not a good chair. It's not a good chair for several reasons. One, the back does not adjust. Two, it is wooden, very fashionable, looks very nice, was reasonably priced in IKEA, but has zero lumbar support whatsoever. Also, it doesn't really get me to the right height on my desk either. It's a little bit low. So I would ideally like, not too bad, but I would ideally like my legs to be a little bit higher so they're kind of parallel to the ground, maybe like a 90-degree angle. Sometimes you can achieve this by getting a foot support under the desk, so you can have like a little foot support underneath there. You can get them from any website really, just Google under desk foot support. They're quite good, quite easy. I personally never really found them very helpful, if I'm honest. I find them more annoying. I hate things under my desk and kicking them. So, how you're sitting, how you feel with your lumbar support, which is this bit here basically. Lumbar is here in your back. You can buy additional cushions that kind of go onto it. You can buy chairs with like real good lumbar support, but it's a very personal thing. Again, height, your feet, how you've got these things. The guidance, you're going to want your legs parallel, but as long as it's comfortable. You're going to want to try and aim for a couple of inches between here and the desk, but as long as you're comfortable. Ideally, I would want to be a bit higher and have it so my arms are parallel as well when they're at the desk. So I'm a little bit higher, but as long as you're comfortable. Also, there's an interesting point that it's okay for me to have a not okay chair because I'm not here a lot. I sit here and I edit a podcast, edit a video, and then that's it, I'm off. I'm not sitting here for 8 hours a day, so it's okay. So proportionate kind of risk. Mouse and keyboard then. Mouse is quite easy, wireless ones you can get. Declutters the desk, which I find is quite good. It helps you be a little bit more chill, a little bit more zen. But these are quite important. Most people use it like this. So not moving their arms, they're just moving their wrist. This is a very weak part of your arm, and you're putting a lot of pressure there, especially over a long day. You want to lift your wrist up and move your arm and your shoulder and your elbow and use your whole arm. That's how we want to do it, and most of us use this. And an interesting note is a lot of us will have mouse mats with the supporting cushions sitting here, and that encourages us to not move our wrists, so we rest on the cushion and do that. That is not the point. The point of those cushions is that you move the mouse with your arm and then you rest on the cushion. The same applies to a keyboard. When we're typing, we should lift our arms up and type away.
Who types looks like that.
You should be typing with your arms up, your wrist off the ground, so you want to be typing like this, yeah, not like this, or not like my old boss. So just to reiterate, the wrist rests, which is difficult to say, is for you to rest on, not for you to rest on whilst working. So it's for you to type, rest, not rest and type. Where these go on the desk, to be honest, I don't really care as long as you're comfortable. The point is that you're comfortable. You don't want to be overreaching like this, and you also don't want to be too close to yourself. The point is you'll be able to use your arms. That's important. You can use your arms, you can move your wrist, but you can rest as well. That's the key thing here. You don't want a desk or so much on your desk that you're kind of like forced to just move small movements with your wrist. You want to be able to use big movements. That's the key. What about the screen then? The guidance with the screen is that the top of the screen should be level with your eye. Again, it's based on how comfortable you are and what feels comfortable for you. A lot of people, I personally like my screen to be a little bit left to me. Just one, because I think it looks a lot better sitting in the corner. Sometimes also you have two screens. Some people do that by having one screen in front of them and the spare screen to the side, or they'll have the centre of both screens, so they're either like that. To be honest, it depends on how long you're doing it. It depends on if you're doing something for a long time, so you're going to write like a big article, then you want to position your body to look at one screen and then just reference the other one every now and again. But if you're looking at one for a long time, that's probably the best way to go. And it's fine to have a screen in the corner. If you're turning your chair to face it in the corner, I could have it there if I wanted to, and then go to this one and just move the chair. The point is to not be lazy and just move the chair and our legs and our arms instead of these weak muscles like our wrists. And that's a new dance move, by the way. That's what we don't want to do. So some key tips: 1, be comfortable. 2, you want to try and aim for parallel thighs and parallel arms. And then the most important thing is you're not moving your wrists, you want to be moving your arms. That's really important. Lighting. Lighting's important. You want to be able to see what you're doing, but obviously if you've got too much of a kind of, if it's too bright on your screen, you're getting glare or you're getting a bounce off a window. If you're right next to a window, you might want to consider like an anti-glare screen. I wear glasses now, and as a result of DSE, I was getting headaches a lot of the time. Went to get my eyes tested, my eyes were struggling, and had glasses for DSE, and now I kind of have to wear them, give or take, all the time. So it's important to consider things like that. Are your eyes feeling tired? Have breaks. Now a break can be anything from going to the loo, to making a cup of tea, to answering the phone and turning away from the screen. I personally like to just switch off and look at something far away by looking out the window, give my eyes a bit of a rest from the blue screen or the blue light. Let's talk about why we want to manage DSE, or why we want to manage how we're sitting at our desk and be a bit better at how we sit and stuff. Well, to be honest, if you're asking people to sit at their desk for 8 hours a day, you want them to be comfortable. If we don't manage this stuff over a long period, you're going to start feeling, get some numbness if you're sitting in the wrong positions. You're putting too much pressure on one point of your body. You know, you're feeling uncomfortable. It starts to become numb, then that becomes pain. That's going to be the same with your eyes. I told you about my eyesight. Started with small headaches, tired eyes, then it was big headaches, then it was really long, painful, like migraine type headaches. All that stuff builds up, and that's very stressful. So that in itself is a problem, but then that becomes a very stressful environment for you. You become not productive. That starts to affect your home life and stuff like that. All that becomes stressful. Then what that goes on to do is leads to lost time, whereas a business, it starts to cost you money because your staff are off, you're having to pay them. So, you know, there's moral reasons to manage this, but obviously you're going to start losing money if you don't manage this. But if you don't manage this, to be honest, I just don't want to work for you. So it's really important that you do manage this. Now, one final caveat just to cover off. If you've got someone with existing back problems, leg problems, eye problems, anything that's kind of exacerbating them sitting at a desk, can't emphasize enough to engage with an expert. If you've got someone with some pre-existing problems or someone who's really struggling to get comfortable, go to an expert. Try to find an expert that doesn't work for the company that sells the chairs and all the equipment as well, because obviously in my experience you get someone to come in who's an ergonomic expert and they say, oh, what you need is our £7 grand chair. So just keep that in mind. Engage with Occi Health, with occupational health if you've got it. Engage with them and their doctors if you can, and HR as well. So I hope this has helped. Okay guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit like and subscribe on the bell so you never miss another episode. And let's get into my top tip. Stop blanket buying chairs for your offices. Well, what are we supposed to do, James? Buy everyone a specific chair for themselves? Well, yeah. And I know that sounds crazy, but let's think about it. You're asking people to sit at a desk for 8 hours a day. So, you know, some people, not everybody, but most people we're talking about here, be sitting at a desk for 8 hours, constantly. So, would you not want a chair that you picked yourself, that you sat in and you thought, oh, I'm comfortable in this? Yeah, you would. So, why don't you think about doing that for your staff? If I was given the choice to buy a chair, I would feel more comfortable, I would be happy at the place I work, and then what does that give me? Gives me the motivation to work a hell of a lot harder for you. Thanks for watching this video guys, I'll catch you next week. Safe.